participants, distinguished speakers, and committees. A warm welcome to you all to the third session of SOBA 2022. With the main topic today is climate resilient land. Yeah, and I hope you all still eager, yeah, to follow this course. Yes, since this is the third session of our all agenda of SOBA. First of all, I would like to welcome our distinguished speakers, Dr. Samuel Johnson Sutanto, and also Dr. Dewi Galuh Condro Kirono. I'm sure they are already with us, yeah, right now. Maybe I will say hello to them first. Hello, Dr. Samuel, can you hear me?
Yeah, very clear.
Okay, good afternoon or maybe good morning in the Netherlands time.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and also Dr. Dewi Galuh Condro Kirono. Good afternoon, Dr. Galuh. Can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon. Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you also for being with us here, Dr. Galuh. And Dr. Galuh, actually, she was my lecturer when I studied in Geography faculty in UGM. I was your student in 2004, Bu Galuh.
Okay,
Very nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you again.
Yeah.
Very pleased.
Okay, before we start this session, let me to introduce myself. My name Ainun. I'm from Soil Department, Faculty of Agriculture, UGM, and I will be your moderator today. But I'm not alone. I will have a partner in this session who will lead the discussion, yeah, after the course. Miss Arini, yeah, will be accompanied me. But I think Miss Arini still something to do first, so she will join us a bit later. So participant, let me to inform you that this session will be divided into two parts. The first part is lecture from the speakers, and each speaker will have 30 minutes in maximum to deliver the presentation. And the second part, we will have a Q&A session, also with discussion, of course, for about 45 up to 60 minutes. And also the important thing for you participants, don't forget to fill out the attendance link in the chat box. And if you have any questions during the lecture, you can write it down in the chat box. Or you also can find the special box for the question in the attendance link. Yeah, so you can put your questions also there. Okay, as I mentioned to you before, today we will have two great speakers. And for the first opportunity, I will give to Dr. Samuel to present his lecture. But before we listen to his lecture, let me to read his biography to you. Wait a moment. Okay. He is Samuel Johnson Sutanto, doctor, and he graduated from Parahyangan Catholic University in Bandung, Indonesia, with a Bachelor of Civil Engineering specialization in Hydraulic and Water Resources Engineering. And then he continued his master degree from UNESCO IHE Delft, Netherlands, in hydrology and water resources in 2009. And then he started his PhD in the Institute for Marine and Atmospheric Research, Utrecht, in June 2011. And right now, he moves to Wageningen University and Research, WUR, since 2016. And he joined the Hydrology and Quantitative Water Management Group and has worked on the development of hydrometeorological draft early warning system for Europe. Wow, what a great achievement, yeah. And he specializes in drought forecasting, including the impacts as well as the compound and also cascading event of dry hazard. And then he was involved also in some projects, both in Indonesia and also in Europe. In Indonesia, he was involved in some project funded by Ministry of Public Works and Housing. And then one of the notable output from him, which is his work in developing the Indonesian landslide early warning system. Yeah, we call it ILEWS. And he also worked together with NASA, USA, and also Netherlands in many projects. Yeah, wow, there are so many achievements gained by Dr. Samuel. Yeah. So I think it is a very great opportunity to have you here, Dr. Samuel. So for you participants who are interested in climate, especially in climate information services, yeah, because he will deliver the topic about the climate information services. It is a very, very good time for you to gain more insight and also knowledge, yeah, from him about that topic. Okay, without waiting any longer, so please, Dr. Samuel, to present your to deliver your presentation. The time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ainun. Wow, it's a very long introduction.
Yeah, because you gave us a long
You can make it
biography as
short, you
well.
know. You don't need to make it very long. But,
No problem.
wait a minute. I need to short display. Let's see. Nope. Can you see my slides?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
That's
so
good.
good. So first of all, thank you for inviting me as a speaker today in the SOBA summer course. Thank you for the introductions. I just want to add you one thing that now I'm working on the climate information services in the water system and a global change group in the same university in the Wageningen. So just to make it short, I would like to share with you today about my our experience in the developing climate information services for the smallholder farmer. So what will you learn today from me? And first, I will share with you why we need the climate information services for the smallholder farmer. And the second, I will also discuss with you the impact of climate change on precipitations. I hope the slide that I will provide is not duplicate with the previous speaker. I think in the previous day you have talked about climate change and why this is important to develop the climate information services. I will discuss with you later on. And after that, I will provide you with information about the concept to develop the climate information services. And the last one, the most important things is I will share with you as well the GIS example that we developed, yeah, in our project. So we developed at least 2 apps. We call it Farmer Support App and a Drop apps. You will know later on. And the first thing, why smallholder farmer need climate information services? And if you look at actually agriculture in the global south depends mainly on rain-fed agriculture for their staple food productions. So basically in the global south, not all the farm field, they have irrigations. So many of them, they still depend on the precipitation. So we call it rain-fed agriculture. So this is reasons why the farmer really need information about the precipitation. And the second, the farmer success is affected by how they are able to match their decision regarding the farming practice to the prevailing weather conditions. And of course, the last one, we know that the changing precipitation, for example, amount and pattern due to the climate change, make the farmer local forecast knowledge becoming not skillful. So basically, we conducted a study, and it was done by one of our master students. So she was collected like the local forecast knowledge, and we found at least in the world around 5 countries they use the local knowledge to forecast the weather. And this knowledge become not skillful because of the climate change, because everything is changes now. So the experience that they get from the ancestor is not basically not skillful anymore. Yeah? And hopefully the climate information services can reduce the vulnerability of farmer in extreme events, for example, flood, drought. Yeah, and in the end will increase the agriculture productivity. So this is example from Bangladesh and Ghana. So this is the project that we are working on. So in Bangladesh, actually around 40% of the household, so they depend on the crop farming. And from these 40%, many of them, they are rain-fed agriculture. So the irrigations in Ghana is still very limited, put it that way. Sorry, in Bangladesh. Yeah, in Ghana, the amount is even double. So around 80% of households in Ghana, they really depends on the crop farming. So if this year, for example, they have a bad agriculture productions, then many households, they cannot get any income or less income to feed their family, for example. And we know that because of this, the farmers are dependent on the rainfall and, of course, other weather phenomena to make decisions in the farming. And the farmer have limited access to information well in advance. And we know that the available information and technology can help farmers manage water and climate risk and harness the opportunity. So the next thing that we want to show to you, this is the impact of the climate change on the precipitations, and this is very important for farmer doing rain-fed agriculture. So this is an example of the figures. This is for the past 100 years, from 1900 to 2005, and this is, you can see like the trend of precipitation over there around the world, and I can divide it into two types over here. So in some region, you see that the precipitation basically increased, but in another region, on other regions, for example, the precipitation decreased. Yeah. So you can see the increase, for example, in the Western North America, in the Central North America, and also in the Central Asia. But if you look at South Asia, for example, the precipitation is also decreased, and also in Africa, South Africa, Mediterranean. Yeah. So the changes in precipitation is not always the same. Yeah. And the second, if we look at into the projections, yeah. So now we are not talking about the historical data. Now we're talking about the projections in the future. Let's say 2100. So this is the result from 11 global climate models submitted to Smith 6 model. So you see that if we have like just 1.5 degrees Celsius, this is our target now, but I'm a little bit pessimistic about it. You see that the chances in average more or less 5%. Yeah. But if the temperature in the future will be 2 degrees warming, then the chances may be around like 6 to 7%. But if we have a very like a worst case scenario or very extreme 4 degrees Celsius warming, and you see that in average maybe almost 15% changes in precipitations. So now how about the extreme? For example, extreme here is like a wet and dry, flood and drought. Yeah. So the first figure here, this is show the maximum 5-day precipitations. This is using the RCP 8.5. This is like the highest scenario, and this is for the future, far future. Yeah, you see that many regions, they are very dark blue over here. So that means 5-day precipitation will be higher in many parts of the region, especially here in Asia. Yeah. And only in a few regions, for example, like North Africa, South Africa here, yeah, the extreme wet event will be less. But now if you look for the consecutive dry days, yeah, so this is the value is in days, and you see that here, for example, Indonesia and Asia, at least the color is like a yellow to orange. So that means the dry days will be longer, around 5 to 10 days longer. Yeah. But if you look at like a South Africa here, Amazon, and of course you see that it's very dark red. So that means the dry day will be longer, even almost 1 month. Yeah, 25 days, 20 days. So what is the implication of climate change in the precipitation? And we see that the precipitation extreme change. Yeah, in trend, we see that in some region the trend increase, in another region decrease. And after that shifting in timing, I do not explain it to you in the slide to make it short, but the timing also changed. Maybe you can feel it. In the past, usually in this month, we already have like a dry season, but suddenly we have flood. So the timing for the dry and wet season is also changes, yeah, and also more extreme. I'll show you in this figure. And because of this reason, actually, we need to have a robust climate information services. And what key aspect that should be in the climate information services, yeah, to develop a successful change? So the first thing, the climate information services should be tailored to smallholder farmer specific needs. So this is what we call it bottom-up approach. So in the past, what we do, usually it is like a top-down approach. So top-down approach, the scientists, the government, they develop something and they give it to the user. The user here can be farmer, right? But sometimes the product that we develop is not tailored to the farmer needs. And this is why the reasons now we change the paradigm. So we change into bottom-up approach. So we start from the farmer first, start from the user, and after that, we develop a product that tailored to smallholder farmer needs. And the second, location specific. Because if we ask to the farmer, this is a real case in Ghana. Yeah? So we have a farmer community in Gubulung, and we asked them, do you get a forecast? And they said, yes, but the forecast actually for Tamale. For example, Tamale is a big city close by and nearby, but actually the distance between Gubulung and Tamale 25 kilometers. And the farmer said precipitation in Tamale, it doesn't mean that we will have precipitation in Gubulung. So the forecast is not location specific, they said. And the next one, timely. And what is timely? So anytime the farmer needs a forecast, the forecast should be available. Because mainly the farmer, they look at the forecast from the radio, from the television. So that means anytime they need the forecast information, they cannot get it, right? Because in the television, maybe they show the forecast in the morning news or in the evening news, these kind of things, yeah? And the timely also, it can be the lead time. Because the farmer said, yeah, basically we got the forecast, but only for tomorrow. And we never know what will happen in the next month. And the next one, of course, skillful informations. If you provide a climate information services, which is not skillful, and the farmer in the end will say, we will not use it. It's not accurate anyway. And the last 2 points over here, this is like involving the training and the forum group discussions and evaluations. Yeah. So the product that we produce for the farmer, it should be easy to interpret. Because sometimes we provide a product and the farmer, they said, well, we cannot read it. Because we need to realize that many farmers, they are illiterate. They are, let's say, not well educated. And if you talk with the farmer, the forecast probability, 40%, what does that mean? We need to explain it to them. And the forecast also sometimes, they have an ensemble member. Yeah. So we need to explain it to them, what is the meaning? And also involving user training for better understanding of the required technology. So if we provide the technology, of course, we need to provide the training, how to use the technology. And in our case, it's a mobile apps, how to use the mobile apps for deer farming activities. So we need to provide the training. This is the most important thing to develop a successful climate information services. So I divided this all into, it doesn't work. Next, yeah. This is the conceptual framework that we need if you want to develop a robust, let's say, climate information services. So the first step, we need to know first what and whose decision action to support. So we need to know who is our user. So in our case, the user is farmers, smallholder farmers. And where, what? This is in the rural and peri-urban farming communities. So if we know who are our users, then the next step is we can go to them and we can ask, what do you need? What the farmer needs? So the step 2 is the needs assessment. So we know who is our user and we need to ask them, and what do you need? So because of this, we know the user is a farmer and this is what they need. So we can develop a climate information services. Yeah. So this is the next thing. After we know what is there and what is not and what are the needs, so we can co-develop tailor-made weather and climate information services. This is the most important thing with and for farmers. So when we develop this, we should work together with the farmer. Yeah? And after we go via the step 1, step 2, we develop the product. And the next 2 steps are the most important thing as well for the climate information services. We need to test. We need to test our product. Yeah? So the product, they have an output. We need to give the output to the farmer, and we need to train them how to read the output. Because if we give the product without any training to read the output, farmer will think, okay, what does that mean from this product? What does that mean from this forecast? Yeah. So we need to train the farmer about the output, let's say the interface, visualization of the product. Yeah. And we need to also to test the product with the farmer. And the last step, of course, like a monitoring success, the value of information system. And the last step also very good to get the feedback from the farmer. Because this process usually is not done only in one go. So we need to always kind of like improve our product based on the feedback from the farmer. So this is like the 4th step that we use to develop a climate information services. And the next one, I will give you some example. This is the engagement with the farmers. So in the previous project, we actually developed the weather club. And what is the weather club? So this is kind of like a place for farmer, so they can discuss with the farmer. because we know that many farmers nowadays, they have a smartphone, but not all of them, especially, I'm sorry to say, like the senior farmer. Usually they do not have a smartphone. So they come together to the weather clubs and they share the information of the forecast, yeah, with another peer farmer, and they can also discuss about the agriculture related activities. So this is example, the weather club that we developed in Bangladesh. And using this weather club as well, we can get the feedback and we can do monitoring. We can develop the apps together with farmer in this weather club. And the next one, which is also the most important thing for the step 3 and step 4. So this is a focus group discussions. So in this focus group discussion, we build the capacity toward water and climate procedure. And also we build the capacity toward the ICT and the use of the apps. Yeah. So because if we develop the apps and we do not discuss, we do not train the farmer how to use the apps, how they can use the apps, because many farmers, they are illiterate. And of course, after that, we can also co-develop water, climate, agriculture, advisory services via these focus group discussions. This is example in Ghana, that we went to Ghana and we do this. And another example, the left one, this is a discussion with farmer. This is in Bangladesh. So we also went there again for monitoring and feedback. So after the farmer use the apps, use the climate information services, we want to hear what do they think about this product and what kind of feedback that they can give it to us, so we can what do you call it, like a modify or improve our system. And the right one, this is Victoria, one of our student. Now she is in Ghana. She is what we call it, like a training the farmer how to use the drop apps. So this is the app that we develop as well. So this is example of the farmer support apps. I will just go quickly here. So basically, farmer support app is the first generation's climate information services that we produce. Yeah. So basically, this is location and time specific apps, and they provide not only scientific forecast but also incorporate the local forecast knowledge. I will show you later on in the next slide. Yeah. So the local forecast knowledge (LFK) is based on indigenous agrometeorological indicator submitted by the farmer. So if we look at, this is the interface of the apps, this is the most important thing. So if the farmer click here, they can hear the sound in Dagbani language. Yeah, Dagbani. So this is like the local language used in Ghana. The national language is English, but some local people, some farmers, they still use the local language. So they can hear in the local language. And if they click here in the middle, for example, they can see the forecast, the scientific forecast, the local forecast submitted by the farmer, and also the hybrid, the combinations of a local and scientific forecast. And this is like the button that the farmer can click. This is, we will give the opportunity for farmer to share the forecast. And the next slide, I will give example to you. This is a local forecast. If the farmer click share the forecast, so this is what the farmer will have. So we ask the farmer, how much will it rain today? So the farmer needs to fill in this very early in the morning. So the farmer can guess, can forecast, for example, tomorrow will be low rain or high rainfall. Yeah. And after the farmer click one of these buttons, and the next one, what indicator do you check? For example, farmer see a scorching sun, so that means it will rain, heavy or not. Yeah. And if farmer see, oh, I see like a strong wind blowing from the west to the east, so that means in the late afternoon or in the evening, we will have a heavy precipitations. So this is like an example of the local indicator that we collected with the farmer, and we provide it in the apps, so the farmer can also select what indicator do you see. And the right one here, the examples of the local forecast. So here you see that around 100 farmers, they submit the local forecast, and 49 farmers said that we may have a medium rainfall event in this late afternoon, and 50% say high. Yeah. So this is the local forecast that the farmer provided for us and also for the peer farmer. And the next one, this is example for the scientific forecast. So this is for 1-day forecast, 7-day forecast, and 14-day forecast. So the scientific forecast, we get it from the Meteo Blue forecast provider. Yeah. And the next one, from the farmer support app to drop apps. So the next question is, why now we need to build the second generations of farmer support apps? We call it drop apps. Because in the farmer support app, when we developed before, there is no soil moisture forecast. But we went to the farmer again, we asked for the feedback, and they said, actually, well, actually, we also need a soil moisture forecast. And for the first generations, we developed this app with the company. So when the project ends, we cannot improve the apps anymore because the contract with the company is already end, right? But the drop app, this is the app that we built in-house. So in-house, that means we develop the app by ourselves. Yeah. And this is example of the study in Ghana. So we asked the farmer, what kind of information do they get? So the soil moisture actually is the lowest one. So many of them, they do not get soil moisture informations. But if we look at the next question is, we asked the farmer the importance of soil moisture in farming decision-making stages. And we see that so many farmers, they said the soil moisture information is very important, extremely important and important. And especially if they want to do sowing and fertilizer application. Many of them, they said soil moisture information is very important and extremely important. Yeah. So from this figure, we already know that farmers use soil moisture information for various farming decision making. But then the next question we asked to the farmer again, yeah, what kind of forecast variable do you need? And of course, the first one they say rainfall, precipitations, because many of them, they are working in the rain-fed agriculture. But soil moisture actually is the second highest variable they really want to have. Yeah? But we know that the first generation farmer support app, they do not have soil moisture forecast. And even if you Googling for the mobile apps, yeah, except for the website, not so many climate information services, they provide the soil moisture information for farmer. So this is reasons why we developed the next one is a drop apps. So with the drop apps, we can provide until 7 days ahead soil moisture forecast. So this is just a short video. Yeah. So this is show if the farmer want to update the forecast for the soil moisture. And for the moment, we don't use the model yet. This is the soil moisture initial condition that the farmer need to fill in. And this is the irrigation water. So the farmer also can plan the irrigations 7 days ahead. Yeah. So after the farmer submit the value over there, and this is the forecast that the farmer will get. In the beginning, you see that the soil moisture was very low. But of course, because the farmer give irrigations water over there, and you see that the soil moisture is very high, and of course, because of the evapotranspiration, it becomes lower and lower. Yeah. So this is the soil moisture forecast. Just to make it quick, and with the drop up here, we also asked to the farmer what kind of crops they will plant. Why? Because you know that every crop they have a different evapotranspiration value. Yeah. And also the most important thing, we also ask when they will plant, because every crop developing stage, yeah, from the seeding until harvesting, the ET also different, not always the same. So we need to know also when the farmer will plant. Yeah. So this is to calculate the ET, and in the end, for using the water balance concept, we forecast the soil moisture. So this is example of the product, and of course we need to explain it to the farmer in the simple word. Yeah. So we just say if the soil moisture between 0 and 20%, so that means it is bad. If it is like a 75% to 100%, that means good. So we just use the simple word bad, moderate, good, these kind of things to explain to the farmer about the output of the forecast. Yeah. So this is the example of the forecast. So now it's already almost 30 minutes. So I will just have a short video for you. Can you confirm if you can hear it or not?
I can hear.
Bangladesh is on the front line of climate change. For coastal communities, global heating has brought temperature rises, freshwater shortages, intense storm damage, and salt invasion, to name but a few. These natural factors, together with a burgeoning population with limited agricultural land, puts the food production system under intense pressure. Most farmers in the Delta still depend on traditional farming practices and decision-making. While information and technology could potentially help farmers, they don't have access to tailored weather and climate information services that could help them anticipate and mitigate the effects of the unpredictable weather. As a result, when Mother Nature strikes unexpectedly, farmers often lose their crops, livestock, and livelihoods. The Water Apps project has co-developed weather and climate information services with farmers and local stakeholders in Bangladesh. The Water Apps project trained local extension officers, farmers, and young people on weather and climate information services and how to use them for climate-sensitive decision-making.
দেখেন আগামী সপ্তাহে সব কয়দিন বৃষ্টিপাত আছে কম বেশি
আমাদের এই আবহাওয়া তথ্যটা নারী কৃষকদের জন্য অনেক উপকার বয়ে আনছে তারা এই যে বীজ সংরক্ষণ করতে যে বীজ রোদে শুকানো লাগে বা কখন রোদ কখন বৃষ্টি আবহাওয়া কেমন থাকবে শুষ্ক না জলীয় আবহাওয়া থাকবে এগুলো হচ্ছে নারী কৃষকরা জেনে তাদের বীজ সংরক্ষণে একটা বড় গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা রাখতেছে
From Water Apps, the local farmers in Khulna receive 7-day, 14-day, and seasonal forecasts, which help farmers plan ahead in their households and farming activities. Local farmers report that improved climate information and up-to-the-minute warnings about extreme weather events has saved crops that might otherwise have been destroyed.
আমরা সাধারণত জানি শীতকালে বর্ষা হয় না কিন্তু এই আবহাওয়া স্কুলের সাথে জড়িত থাকায় হঠাৎ করে দেখলাম যে আবহাওয়ার ফোকাসে শীতকালে বর্ষা হতে যাচ্ছে আমাদের মাঠে তখন বড় পাকা ধান ছিল কাটা ধান ছিল ওগুলো আমরা কিষানীরা তড়িঘড়ি করে মানে রাতের বেলায় বহন করে বাড়িতে এনে নিরাপদে রাখেছি
Farmers getting help from the app have improved their traditional decision-making and livelihood practices.
এই তথ্যগুলো যদি সকল কৃষকের কাছে যদি পৌঁছে যায় তাহলে আমি মনে করি সাস্টেনেবল কৃষি অবশ্যই একদিন এবং বর্তমান যে জলবায়ু সেবাটা আমরা কৃষকরা পাই এটা আমাদের কৃষকদের জীবনযাত্রার মান উন্নত করেছে এবং কৃষিকে আরো সমৃদ্ধ করেছে আধুনিক তথ্য প্রযুক্তি কৃষকদের অর্থাৎ আমাদের নারী কৃষকদের জীবনে আশীর্বাদ স্বরূপ বলে আমি মনে করি
Farmers are now making informed choices about when and what to plant and harvest. This simple tool is helping farmers to promote sustainable agriculture and adapt to the dramatic changes brought about by the climate emergency in the Bangladesh Delta.
Well, that's it. Sorry for translations for the local language, but in principle, the farmer said the usefulness of the what do you call it, the farmer support app. Yeah. So I think I will conclude my talk today about this using these take-home messages. That, to be honest, that you can read it by yourself, and you know that many farmers in the global south they are rain-fed and depends on the precipitations, and the climate change changes precipitations. Yeah, in terms of term, pattern, and the amount. Yeah. And because of the smallholder farmer becomes vulnerable to the climate, and climate information services can help farmer. But if we develop the climate information services that is tailored, location specific, timely, easy to interpret, and evolving training, and the farmer support app helps farmer in their agricultural decision making. We already evaluated that, and actually the main problem is there is no soil moisture module. So this is the reasons why we developed the drop app that has a soil moisture module to forecast the soil moisture. And I think that's all.
Okay, thank you. What a very insightful lecture, Dr. Samuel. And one statement that is crucial that I took from your presentation is in your slide, you said that farmers' success is when they are able to match their decision in farming practices to the weather condition. Yeah, and I totally agree. Yeah, with that, because the farmer should know about the climate forecast, because climate forecasting is not only to anticipate the pest, but also to know when the planting season is good, I think, so that the productivity can be optimal, right? And in Java, we also have like Pranoto Mongso, maybe you ever heard about it. It is like a traditional forecast knowledge in our farmer, or what we call as a crop calendar. So we have like that also, like climate information services also in Java. Okay, thank you again, Dr. Samuel. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me continue to another great speaker, that is Dr. Galuh. And before we start the course, let